We really want to unearth the real story of this NFC East showdown.
Because anyone can tell you the Eagles won.
Right.
But you want to understand how they dismantled the Giants, right? We're talking about strategic masterclasses, individual brilliance, those hidden momentum shifts that only the keenest observers catch.
You get it.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just any old Sunday game. NFC East rivalry.
Yeah.
Eagles-Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Always a pressure cooker. But your commentary, you were dialed in.
And you picked up on the tension right away, I see. Divisional games are a different beast altogether.
Okay.
These teams, they know each other.
Right.
Their tendencies, strengths, weaknesses. The stakes are higher. The bragging rights mean more.
For sure.
And the fans, well, let's just say they bring the noise.
They bring it. Now, looking at how this one played out, the Giants' offense, man, they really seem to be stuck in neutral. They were barely sputtering along.
Stuck in neutral is being generous.
Okay.
5 sacks on Daniel Jones.
Oof.
That's not just pressure. That's a defensive masterclass by the Eagles.
Wow.
That kind of pressure, it disrupts everything. You're forcing rush throws. It kills any chance of a consistent running game. And it does a number on a quarterback's confidence.
Well, let's be honest. Watching that live, as a Giants fan, you'd probably feel that one in the pit of your stomach, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the only points coming from a field goal. No touchdowns for Big Blue in this matchup.
And that's the real dagger. It's one thing to struggle to move the ball, but to repeatedly stall out in the red zone,
Yeah.
that points to a real breakdown in execution.
Right.
And you even picked up on that in your commentary, how the Eagles, it seemed like they had the Giants' plays scouted. Like they knew it was coming before it even happened.
Talk about a chess match, huh?
Oh, yeah.
The coaches are trying to outmaneuver each other, anticipating the opponent's next move.
Absolutely.
But speaking of anticipation, we got to talk about Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Back at MetLife Stadium,
Yep.
facing his old team. Come on. You know, everyone was watching his every move.
Absolutely. The return of Saquon Barkley was a huge storyline going into this game. Did he make a statement against his former team? Well,
Don't leave me hanging. Give it to me straight.
85 yards on 10 carries. Not a bad day at the office by any means.
Okay, that sounds decent,
But no trips to the end zone.
right.
Now that begs the question, why? Was it the Eagles' defense? Was it the Giants' play calling?
Yeah.
This is where it gets interesting because you have to look at the layers of the game.
And speaking of layers, let's talk about Jalen Hurts. This game was practically a highlight reel of his best plays.
Dominant, that's the only word for it. He was in complete control, both through the air and on the ground.
Now, that's what I call making a statement. 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Hurts was on fire.
Which is practically unheard of for a quarterback. And we're not just talking about athleticism here. It's
Right.
about vision, timing, and the trust his coaches have in him to make those plays.
And you could see it. Even with the Giants' pass rush all over him, he stayed calm, cool, collected.
Right.
Remember that 4th down touchdown pass to A.J. Brown?
Oh, yeah.
Your commentator even said the Giants were selling hard on the short route.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the kind of play that speaks volumes about the relationship between a quarterback and his receiver. That trust in those pressure cooker moments
Right.
can be the difference between a touchdown and a turnover.
And that connection, that's what wins championships, right? But let's not forget, that touchdown, that's also a testament to the Eagles' offensive line.
Absolutely.
They gave Hurts all the time in the world back there, even with the Giants bringing the heat.
They were a wall.
Right.
The offensive line, it often gets overlooked, but
Yeah.
they were the unsung heroes of this game. They paved the way for those Jalen Hurts touchdowns. They kept him clean, despite the Giants' relentless pass rush. You see a great offensive line. It doesn't just block. They scheme. They adjust their protections based on what the defense is showing. It's like a game within the game.
It's true. They're like bodyguards,
Right.
but with way more strategic thinking involved.
Right.
And speaking of strategy, your commentator pointed out something really interesting. The Eagles' draft picks,
Yeah.
they seem to be working out a whole lot better than some of the Giants' recent acquisitions.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Well, this game was a perfect illustration of the importance of not just acquiring talent, but developing it.
Okay.
The Eagles have clearly found a system that works, both in terms of coaching and player development.
Right.
They're taking these young players, many of whom were overlooked in the draft,
Yeah.
and molding them into a cohesive, high-performing unit.
So it's not just about having a few star players, it's about how all the pieces fit together.
Exactly. And that takes time, the right coaching staff, and a bit of that intangible thing we call team chemistry.
Right.
The Eagles seem to have found that magic formula, at least for now.
Meanwhile, The Giants are still searching for that winning combination. You have to feel for their fans, man.
Yeah.
Watching this one had to be tough.
It's a reminder that building a winning team is a process.
Right.
And the Giants are clearly still in that building phase, and there will be bumps in the road. This game was one of those bumps.
True. But there's a lot of football left to play this season. Plenty of time for both teams to evolve and write the next chapter of their story.
What's fascinating to me is how this one game, it encapsulates so much of what makes football so compelling. You have the tactical chess match between coaches,
Right.
the individual brilliance of players like Hurts, the unsung contributions of the offensive line, and of course, the ever-present weight of history and rivalry between these two teams.
It's like each game is a story.
Right.
But within that story, there are so many layers, so many subplots unfolding. And even in a dominant performance like this one, you can find those little details that tell a bigger story. It's true. Like you can analyze a box score.
Right.
But there's so much more to it.
Yeah,
You and I, we're looking at the game within the game.
absolutely.
And I think that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
It's about understanding the why behind the what.
Yeah.
The Eagles, they didn't just win.
Sure.
They imposed their will on this game.
Kate did.
And that says a lot about their potential this season.
Absolutely. They came in with a plan, they executed it flawlessly,
Right.
and sent a message to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, don't even get me started. That man is on a mission this year.
He's the embodiment of what the modern quarterback needs to be.
Okay.
The arm talent,
Right.
the athleticism to make plays outside the pocket,
Yeah.
and most importantly, the leadership to elevate everyone around him.
Speaking of elevating,
Right.
let's give another shout out to that Eagles offensive line.
Oh.
They deserve hazard pay for how well they protected Hurts.
They were a wall, and that's what allowed the Eagles to control the tempo.
Right.
Dictate the flow of the game.
For sure.
It was a clinic on offensive line play.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. And as for the Giants, well, they're still figuring things out.
They have some soul searching to do.
Yeah.
They need to find ways to protect Daniel Jones, give him more time to make plays.
Right.
That offensive line needs work.
It does. It does. But hey, as we've been saying,
Yeah.
it's a long season.
Yes.
Plenty of football left to play.
Right. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The narrative is always evolving.
Right.
This game, it gave us a glimpse into the potential of these two teams,
Yeah.
but it's just one chapter in a much larger story.
And that, my friend, is why we love the NFL.
Right. Absolutely.
The drama, the upsets, the nail-biting finishes.
Every Sunday is a chance to witness history.
Well said.
Well,
Listener, we hope this deep dive has given you some serious food for thought. You provided incredible insights in your commentary,
yes, you did.
and we've just scratched the surface.
That's right.
Keep your eyes peeled for those hidden momentum shifts.
Right.
Those subtle coaching decisions. They make all the difference.
Absolutely.
We'll be back next week with another exciting matchup. But until then, keep those playbooks handy.